Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So obviously yesterday there was a ton happening. It was the first day of mandatory minicamp. Hassan Reddick did not show up. Aaron Rodgers did not show up. We had the whole Saleh press conference kind of diving into it. We had the weird Tyrod Taylor press conference where nothing was inherently weird about that, but just the fact that how the Jets kind of described everything with the Rodgers situation, basically saying that they've known about this trip for a long time, but Tyrod just learned today that he's going to be, QB1 in mandatory minicamp. So with all of that said, there was a bit of news, in my opinion, that flew under the radar, some pretty exciting news. So the Jets worked out a handful of players, one of which was former first-round pick Takk McKinley at defensive end, but another was former Jet Pat Elflein. Now, Elflein was a guy who I really, really liked, not only just as a Jet, but, before that as a Viking. He was a former third-round pick out of Ohio State and ends up finding his way to the Jets roster when we were really beat up back in 2020, and he came in and solidified his position, right? When he came in, the offensive line immediately looked better, and once the offseason hit, I thought that it was a shoo-in, he was going to be back, and he didn't get brought back, right? He signs a 3-year contract with the Carolina Panthers and was just always dealing with some sort of injury. Consistent starter, for sure. Like, when he was healthy, he was a starter, but always banged up, right? Unfortunately, always banged up, but Elflein's a guy who has good size. At 6'2", 300 pounds, he can play center, he can play guard. To me, that is exactly what the Jets need right now. Kind of the cherry on top of this offensive line. I gotta be honest, so I was actually talking to Tyson from Let's Talk Jets Radio about this a little bit last night, but we were just kind of talking about how we feel going into the year about the offensive line, and I feel absolutely fantastic. I feel great about the O-line. This is probably the best I've felt about the offensive line in such a long time. I feel like we have 5 consistent starters. We have go-to backup options. We have a nice combination of young building blocks, Tippmann, Olu, AVT, combined with the veteran leadership, the veteran experience, Tyron Smith, John Simpson, Morgan Moses. It's a really encouraging group, and I'm really hoping that the Jets get back to the ground game a little bit more this season, rely more so on running the football, because these guys are all really, really effective in the running game. So that's my hope. But you could say, all right, well, if there is a weakness on the offensive line, it might be interior offensive line depth, right? So what happens if Tippmann gets hurt? Who's going to be the starting center? What happens if AVT takes a while to come back from his Achilles? What's going to exactly happen at backup guard? Pat Elflein checks both of those boxes. It actually got really dark in here. Hopefully that helps a little bit. I think we're right underneath a rain cloud or something. But in any case, Pat Elflein checks both of those boxes, right? Center, guard, he could come in and be the backup. I think it would be a great, great fit. Obviously, he wouldn't be asking, for a ton of money or anything, so it would be affordable. If Pat Elflein is healthy, he can play. He's already played and had success with the Jets before, albeit with a different coaching staff, but it was Joe Douglas that brought him in. I would be all over this, right? I would really, really like, oh man, that's super dark. In fact, I would love it if the Jets managed to work something out here and bring him in. Obviously, this is with the assumption that he impressed at the workouts, through this little 2-day period here at mandatory minicamp. So anyway, quick little video here. Just wanted to give my 2 cents on it. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. How do you feel about the offensive line? Do you think they just need one more piece? Or are they 10 out of 10 perfect as we stand right now? Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.